Hi, my name is Paul Ranney. I'm a relatively new active member here at Community Church. For those of you that don't know me, but it is a great honor for me to be conducting today's devotional to you. When I was first asked to do this, I really wasn't sure of the topic that I would like to speak on, but then I received some great inspiration from a devotional that was done back in June by Bob Younglove. And his devotional was on the importance of us acquiring a sense of peace in our lives, and it was a very inspiring devotional. So I started thinking more along the lines of what goes hand in hand with peace, something that contributes heavily towards us being able to achieve the peace in our lives. And that, of course, is the act of loving. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I have discovered about love in my Christian journey. Now, as we all know, there are hundreds of references to love throughout the Bible, and one could talk for hours about the different ways in which the word love is used throughout scriptures. But again, I would just like to talk a little bit about what I have come to learn about the many ways that love is talked about in the Bible. The English language is actually at a disadvantage when it comes to describing ways in which we can love one another, because the languages that the Bible was originally written in, Hebrews and Greek, both actually use different words for the types of loves that we are all familiar with. There's the brotherly love shared between friends, there's the deep-rooted love of siblings, there's the romantic or erotic love between spouses, and then there's the parental love that parents obviously share or have for their children. And the English language puts the burden of all those types of love on just one word, love. But there's an additional meaning of the word love that we don't often think of as actual love. Yet it is nonetheless, because in its most basic sense, love is the emotion that we feel that leads to us performing an action when we are concerned for the well-being of others. And everyday examples of this type of love that we can demonstrate to perfect strangers that we meet could just be extending a warm smile and a cheerful greeting to the drive-through window cashier, or letting a driver in ahead of us in heavy traffic with a smile and a wave, or giving a restaurant server just a little extra on their tip just because, or something even as simple as holding the door open for someone, woman or a man. I came across a real wonderful quote by Mother Teresa in a book that I'm currently reading, and it's a book of her many inspirational sayings, and the book is entitled No Greater Love. This book will soon be in our church library as soon as I'm done with it. But the quote was, "Do not think that love, in order to be genuine, has to be extraordinary." Of course, there is the most powerful love that we can imagine, yet it's impossible for us to fully comprehend, and that is the love that God has for us. As we read in the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verse 16, one of the most beloved verses in the Bible, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." The immensity of that love is, of course, mind-boggling. However, as I was recently reminded of by an extremely intelligent and very astute man of God, some of you may recognize the name, Reverend Dale Brown, although ours is a very loving God, he is also a very jealous God. He doesn't want much from us, but he does want us to reciprocate that love that he has for us. So how can we easily show God this love that he wants from us? And a perfect way, I think, is demonstrated in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 34 through 40. And you'll notice in this reading, the word love is actually not even used. However, in my opinion, it comes across as a great way of showing how we can love God. "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. So, to me, showing love for others in even the simplest of ways is the same as showing love for God. In closing, I'd like to reflect on what the Apostle Paul says about love in his first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, and verses 4 and verse 13. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, and it is not proud. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. I hope you have a blessed and love-filled day.